Should you buy your bike off Craigslist? That's kind of a good topic for the day. That's what I did with my two bikes, actually. But I will say this. I went about it in two different manners, and one was the totally wrong manner and one was the correct manner of buying a bike off Craigslist. So I'll give you the little scenario. I bought my first bike, which was a 2003 Honda CBR 600 RR. The guy had told me, of course I knew from the pictures and everything, but the guy told me too that he wrecked it. The front fairing was jacked up. The front headlight was messed up. I think it was one turn signal was messed up, and the rear taillight was messed up. That's what I could see, and I was like, okay, you know, I kind of calculated in my head, you know, $500 fairing kit, probably $150 on headlights and turn signals and all that, maybe a little bit more, $200. I was like, okay. And so he wanted $1,500, but I was figuring, you know, I could get the bike for a little bit cheaper, which I did, and then put the, you know, $700 into it and have a nice riding bike. And I did. I pulled the trigger and I bought it. I test drove it, of course. I listened to the engine, and I'm semi-mechanically inclined. I can do little things here and there. I know if something sounds wrong. The bike seemed really good. The engine seemed strong. It had pretty low miles for 2003. I get home, you know, I ride it for a little bit, you know, the way it was. I get addicted to riding, basically, and then I go in to fix it. Now here's where the issues started, where I thought it was going to be a super easy fix, because I knew the connectors were blown off from the turn signal connectors. So I was basically having my mechanic do the once over after I actually bought it. Well, he started in and fixing everything. It actually had a cooling fan. The cooling fan actually wasn't working too. So that's why I took it to the mechanic to do the once over, get the cooling fan fixed. And it's when we hooked up the cooling fan again and got that all fixed and started putting everything on is when the major problems happened. See, it had a short, and a really bad short, and it fried my ECU. So an ECU for that Honda was like $600 brand new, which I went and bought it brand new. So we put that in, and we're going through and trying to find the shorts. Then comes that I had to go get a brand new harness and a sub harness, which altogether was probably another $150. On top of the $200 I've always spent for the tail lights, headlight, and turn signals on the side, or for the front. Now I'm up, I think, another $90 for the harness, another $60 or $70 for the sub harness, and another $600 for the ECU. We finally get all this fixed, and there was a couple other little things that we had to go through. I think I replaced the ignition and stuff like that. So this bike is not cheap anymore. My suggestion to anyone going to Craigslist for a bike: take the bike to a mechanic. Make sure the bike is mechanically sound, and don't buy a bike that has been wrecked. I thought of it as a project bike, and it was a very good project bike, because I went over to my mechanic's shop and I helped him work on it and everything else. So it was a little project bike for me, and it helped me learn a lot. And what it made me learn most of all is spend a little extra money and get the nicer bike. Hence comes the ZX6R. I bought this one off of Craigslist pretty much at the time where I was getting done with the CBR project. I was done waiting for that bike to be done, because it was just waiting on parts and stuff like that. So I got sick of waiting. I went and bought this off Craigslist. the guy I bought it from, fortunately, was very good about his documentation and everything else. He had the scheduled or the maintenance logs and stuff like that. He like wrote everything down for maintenance and all that. So he had all that. Then I asked him if I could take it to my mechanic and make sure it was mechanically sound, which he let me. And it was low miles at the time. I put about almost 10,000 miles on this bike. So that's what I suggest doing. Buy the bike that isn't wrecked or hasn't been laid down. Spend a little extra money on it, because in the long run, if you're on a budget, and that's probably the only reason I would tell you to go to Craigslist to buy a bike, is if you're on a budget. If you're on a budget of maybe $5,000 or less, go to Craigslist. You know, you can get some good deals on there. But take it to a mechanic, make sure it's mechanically sound. Don't get the wrecked bike as a project unless you already have a bike and it's not your first bike. Because the moment you get taste of riding, you're going to want to continue riding. And if you have to stop for months on end just to fix a bike, you're going to be pretty pissed, like I was. So spend the money, buy the little bit better bike. Even if you had the budget, you know, you had the budget of $5,000 and you find the, you know, wrecked bike and it's like $2,000. And you're like, oh, I can save loads of money, blah, blah, blah. I'll have $3,000 left over. And then you see this other bike that's probably, you know, $4,500. It's still within your budget. Buy the bike that's a little bit more expensive if it's better. That's my suggestion. But also, you know, take it to the mechanic. I can't stress that enough. Take it to your mechanic and get it checked out. But yeah. So those are my experiences. I definitely hope it helps people out, especially new riders. If you're buying off Craigslist, just make sure that the bike is, you know, do everything that you can to make sure that the bike is a good bike, because you'll regret it in the long run, like I do. I mean, I got that Honda fixed up and it was real nice. I regret selling it now, you know, because I put all that time and money into it and I sold it because I had this bike, but now I regret it. But it was a super nice bike. That being said, I had to put a lot of money into it. So learn from my mistakes, everyone, and just buy the nicer bike. Make sure everything's straight and you'll be set for riding. Don't pull me, basically. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much my video for the week. My little single vlog. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. And I'll see you on the next video. See you later. Peace.